The journey from Parliament House to the seat of the presidency, the Jubilee House, is less than 4 kilometers, and an average vehicle speed will take you less than 5 minutes to reach the presidency. But it has taken Parliament 3 months to forward the amended Criminal Offences Bill to the President for his assent. The bill passed in August this year prohibits the practice of accusing others of witchcraft and criminalizes the declaration, accusation, naming or labeling of another person as a witch. The goal of the bill is to address the persecution of people accused of witchcraft. But yesterday, Speaker of Parliament and the minority leadership took on the President for refusing to assent to the bill, accusing him of violating the Constitution.
The Criminal Offences Amendment Bill, together with the Witchcraft Bill, was approved by this House months ago. Speaker, these are bills that I have personally followed. And I'm aware that the bills, after approval, after passage by this House, was sent to the President months ago, Mr. Speaker. It's almost 2 months now. So clearly, Mr. Speaker, there is a constitutional breach. And this House must take steps to deal with the constitutional breach that we have seen on the Criminal Amendment Bill and that of the Witchcraft Amendment Bill. Mr. Speaker, it's important that we take steps to deal with that. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution guides us as to what we have to do when the President fails to assent to bills that has been approved by this House. So, Mr. Speaker, we are in your hands so that in the coming days we may have to engage you and then take steps to have this matter resolved.
Well, the Majority Leader Osechi Mensah-Bonsu defended the President, insisting the bill was yet to reach the presidency.
Of course, the bill has come to be known as the Witchcraft Bill. The Parliament has passed it, and it was done in July. And ordinarily, it should have been sent to the President for his assent. I must state emphatically that those bills have not been sent to the President for his assent. The Speaker knows about it. And I'm surprised that he came and this address made it appear as if the President was trampling upon the Constitution. Nothing can be further from the truth. And going through, I realized that there were major challenges, things that Parliament ought to have paid attention to. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it was because you were rushing through, you did not pay attention to them. So when I looked at them, I invited our officers at the legislative unit and drew their attention to them. Because when I looked at them, I made some comments. For instance, the head note raises issues to do with, more or less professional witchcraft hunters. Who's a professional witchcraft hunter? Right? I mean, that in itself is problematic. And then there were so many areas that there were clear challenges. Now, do you send that bill in that state to the President for his assent only for it to be for it to come back, or maybe for the President in the process of assenting to it to chance upon these mistakes and send them back to us? Is that what you want to do? There's a third one that has gone to the President. That is also another Criminal Offences Amendment Bill. But that one has some constitutional issues. The Constitution provides that a bill, if a bill that is going to exact on the consolidated fund, it cannot be entertained in the House if it is not sponsored by the executive. Now, that bill relates to commuting executions to life sentences. If the court pronounce that somebody must be executed, and then you are saying that that person should not be executed, you'll be sent to prison, maybe for life. Who takes care of that person? It's the state, right? So So the state then is going to have to spend money from the consolidated fund on.
So there the president is responding to the subject. My colleague Elton Broby joins us with more from the presidency. Elton, what exactly does the president's statement say?
So, Aisha, there are two statements here from the president. One is a letter that was written to the secretary to the president from the clerk of parliament. So the president's statement on this matter is a press release. And it says that dated November 28th, that's today, the office of the president has noted recent media reports suggesting that the president has declined to assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2, a legislative measure aimed at amending the criminal offences Act 1960. Indeed, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, is reported on Monday, 27th November, to rebuke President Akufo-Addo over silence on the Criminal Amendment Bill. Now, the statement goes on to say that it is important at the onset that amendment is specifically designed to outlaw the roles of witch doctors or witch finders, in addition to prohibiting the act of declaring, accusing, naming, or labeling an individual as a witch alongside other related matters. Contrary to the claims made in these reports by the Speaker of Parliament and the minority caucus of Parliament, President Akufo-Addo has not remained silent on the bill. And they have a question: how could the Speaker of Parliament accuse the President of remaining silent on a bill when it was specifically and officially presented to him on Monday, November 27, 2023, the same day the Speaker made the accusations? Indeed, the bill was officially presented to the President for his assent, together with the Wildlife Resources Management Bill and the National Petroleum Authority Amendment Bill, under cover of a letter dated 27 November, and the reference here is provided. It is inaccurate, according to the presidency, that a bill has been sitting on the decks of the president without receiving the due attention. President Akufo-Addo, according to the statement, affords him 7 days, as per the Constitution, to review and give his assent to any bill presented to him. In the light of this constitutional provision, it is important to note that the president is still well within the legally stipulated time frame to make a decision regarding the bill. During this period, the president, according to the statement, may examine the bill and, if necessary, convey any concerns or suggestions he might have regarding the content to the president. The office of the president assures the public and the media that the bill, including his current bill, the Criminal Offences Amendment, have been attended to with the ordinary respect for constitutional mandates and legislative processes. And this is signed by the Director of Communications at the Presidency, Regional 9.
So what next now that the president has received the bill?
Actually, if you go through the president's statement that's signed by the Director of Communication, he mentioned, for example, that the president received the bill yesterday through the office of the secretary from the clerk of parliament. They have provided a letter that came from the clerk of parliament. It's also dated the 27th of November, 2023. And the content says that please find enclosed 8 copies each of the following bills which were passed by parliament and duly authenticated by me for assent by His Excellency the President. And the bills are the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill, Wildlife Resources Management Bill, and the National Petroleum Authority Bill. And this is signed by the clerk to Parliament, Ebenezer, the Deputy Clerk, Ebenezer Ahoma Jetro, presented to the Secretary to the President yesterday. Now, per the Constitution, the President has 7 days to study the bill, and if he's comfortable with it, he will sign on to it, and it will not become law. If the President has any reservation at all, we'll have to put it in writing and then refer it back to Parliament for them to sit and go through the concerns of the President. And then if Parliament is so minded to put it before the House for consideration, they will do so, and then return it to the President for his assent. So there may be a back and forth, but whatever it is, the President is within the constitutionally mandated 7 days within which to go through the bill, if he has concern, raise them, and then take it back to the House.
Any idea what might have caused a delay in sending the bill to the President, Elton?
Well, it's very unclear. Perhaps the clerk office can best explain, but from my experience as a parliamentary correspondent, usually when a bill is passed, and it's as is custom with parliamentary parties, even after every day's proceedings, the next day is dedicated to the correction of votes and proceedings, and then they'll move on to correct the official reports maybe the previous week. So it is always fine-tuned. So once the bill is passed, the clerk's office responsibility is to ensure that everything that was said on the floor and everything that was accepted, approved of the floor is incorporated into the bill. And then when that is done, the clerk will then have to present to the leadership for them to go through that. If there are corrections, they are effected. If there is none, that is where the clerk will now put it together and then with a letter attached, send it to the office of the president for the president assent. And then if the president has no concerns to raise, and once he signs, it goes to assembly press, they do the gazetting and it becomes a law. So they may have been back and forth regarding comments, issues that were raised on the floor that may have that took time for them to incorporate into the bill. Or better still, maybe the clerk's office is overwhelmed with a lot of issues on the desk. That's how come it delayed. But whatever it is, according to the correspondence that we have it, the bill was officially presented to the secretary to the president yesterday, Monday, 27th November. The president has indicated that he has 7 days as per the constitutional mandate to go to review it and then communicate his consent to Parliament if he's so minded.
Elton Brobe, with that, the details from the statement from the presidency. I've also been joined by Lamnatu Adams of Song Taba. I'm grateful for your time, madam. I know how important this law is to you. How does it come across to you that since August after its passage into law, the president only received it yesterday for assent?
Thank you. Very good morning to our viewers. I think it's the same question that came to us when I read the director of communication. I was asking myself whose responsibility it is to make sure that the bill got to the president, and also whose responsibility was it to make sure that they made follow-up. And so if we did not know whose responsibility was it and whose responsibility it was to make a follow-up, then there is a challenge there. And the question we ask ourselves is it that this bill is of no interest? Because I remember in this whole years of our engagement, especially in this year, we have continuously engaged the gender ministry. And it was clearly that the issues around witchcraft was the ministry's priority. And so this has come as a surprise that the bill is just getting to the presidency. And so I don't want to be part of the argument. Apart from the question that we, the Coalition Against Witchcraft Accusation, are asking, we are also demanding that the president should, as a matter of agency, view and make the comments that they think is necessary. But it is our hope that we would have had this bill passed within these 16 days of activism, especially as we are calling on putting investment around protecting vulnerable groups, women and children. And so, Aisha, this is of a serious concern to us. If issues around witchcraft accusation is not prioritized to this extent, then it's so sad.
Now that the thing has reached the president for assent, what are your expectations, Lamnatu?
Well, like I said, the expectation is that the president should quickly look at it. I heard the majority leader say there are some concerns. So the team should quickly look at it. And I think that should be a major issue that should take the president time. And like I said, we are demanding that at least in this period of the 16 days of activism, which is around gender-based violence, the president should please send his signature to this bill for us.
I'm grateful for your time. She's Executive Director of Song Taba, and they've been really hard on Parliament to pass this bill into law. Let's see how that pans out now that the president has received that bill passed into law. Now, over 4,000 basic education certificate examination candidates have been placed into various schools following a successful completion of the exam some 3 months ago. The highly anticipated system went live, marking a crucial step in streamlining the placement process for students transitioning to senior high schools across the country. This system not only eases the anxiety for students and their families, but also enhances the transparency transparency and fairness of the placement process. However, over 108 students could not be matched and have been advised to do a self-placement. Cassandra Chumampofo is Public Relations Director at the Ghana Education Service. She'll be joining us shortly for a conversation on this. One of the things we'll be asking is how smooth this has been, what people should do when they have problems, and she'll be telling us all of that if we are able to reach her. I'm told Cassandra Chum has joined us now. Cassandra, grateful to have you. How smooth was this year's placement process? Right, we lost Cassandra there. Let's get on to other stories. The Trade Minister, Katie Hammond, has revealed that he has reached consensus with the minority to finally lay the import regulation seeking to restrict the importation of rice, cow, stomach, and 20 other items. The legislative instrument has met fierce opposition from the minority, who have 3 times blocked its laying in Parliament. Speaking in an exclusive interview with JoyNews, the Trade Minister says the two sides have finally come to an agreement. We'll be bringing you the sound of Katie Hammond shortly and also get some reactions shortly for you. But let's go back to our earlier story on school placement, because Cassandra Chum, who is Public Relations Officer at the Ghana Education Service, has joined us. Cassandra, how smooth has this year's placement process been? Hello, Cassandra.
Hello, good morning.
Tell me about how the placement has been this year.
Thank you so much, and good morning to all your viewers. Yes, it's been quite a smooth process. We received the data from WAEC after the release of the results, and then we began our placement processes. And today we've gone live, and then out of the 598,839 results received from WAEC, we had 585,797 candidates that qualified. And so when we did our algorithm, we had a total of 477,772, representing 81.56. And I must say that there's a significant improvement compared to last year's figures. And we've had over 100,000 candidates getting schools of their choices this year. And so, but we still have about 108,025 qualified candidates that, again, could not be matched with any of their choices. And so such candidates will have to go through the self-placement model, where we have uploaded many schools that still have vacancies. In fact, we have enough vacancies, and so such students would have to do the self-placement themselves. And so I would say that it's been a smooth process. Yes, even though we have had consent this morning that they will be going on the 4th of December, or registration or orientation begins on the 4th of on the 4th of December, and yes, we have released with the placement today. For us, we believe that we set the prospectus ahead of time. We published this, and then we made parents and schools aware of the prospectus, and so we knew that at least parents have started some form of preparation, especially those that knew they would go to the boarding house, began buying their stuff. And so yes, even though we recognize that it's quite a short time of the sort, we had already put the prospectus way ahead, and this time we have a harmonized prospectus, and so you wouldn't have schools having different prospectus that would create problems. We have one for all, and so it's been a smooth process, and we thank God that we have.
Cassandra, so the 108,000 people who could not be matched with their schools, what happened?
What happened? Because our system is such that you cannot be placed in a school that you have not chosen, and so If, you know, this year, for instance, again, we asked the candidates to select 11 schools. They are normal 6 schools, and then they added another 5, so that in case you do not get any of your 6 schools out of merit, you will then fall on the 5 choice. It therefore means that these, this 108,025 did not get any of the 11 schools based on merit. And I must say that this 120 is just a minimal number compared to what we had last year. Last year we had 165,619 candidates that did self-placement. So it tells you that there has been improvement. Indeed, they have done well. And so we have these few numbers. And I want to use the opportunity to assure all such candidates who would fall within the self-placement system that we have a number of schools uploaded. They shouldn't worry. We only want them to go onto the portal because we cannot choose the schools for them. They have to self-place themselves into a school.
So where can people go if they encounter difficulties?
Yes. As usual, we have set up our National Solution Center at the NAT Hall at Abaka. Again, we also have our regional solution center in all our regional offices. Those that are in far districts can also get to their district offices, and then we have our officers that would also put together the consensus, so they will forward to the regional solution center and will be solved. Nonetheless, we also have our call center number, and this goes for all GES and institutions, and so 030-825-8001. Parents, candidates can also call, and we'll be there to help them explain issues or help them address their concerns.
And as we speak, Cassandra, I'm hearing that the page is, people are not able to access the page so they can check their placement. Is there a general problem?
There's not a general problem at all. And you know, we went barely an hour ago, and it's expected that you have a number of people waiting to get into the system. It's just like opening a door, a smaller door, probably asking about 200 or 300 people to get through the smaller door. Definitely there will be some people. We ask them to exercise patience, definitely they will get through. And Joy, at your end, first is one perfect example. First, Miss, whose daughter just got in. I mean, he just checked and gave us the feedback, and the daughter has gotten what's the girls on merit, you know. So people are checking, people are getting through. Of course, we acknowledge that some are also having difficulties, but we should exercise patience. Definitely they will get through. It's just because of the rush. Everyone at this particular point in time wants to get in. It will definitely go through for them.
Before you go, though, let me ask you this. There were allegations of providing infested rice to schools by the minority last week. How far with your investigations into the matter?
Thank you so much for this question, Aisha. You know that yesterday I was particularly tasked to call all the regional directors of education to engage their heads and to report. And let me tell you that none of the regional directors gave us the information that they have received, or any of their schools within their regions have received a bag, even a single bag of maggot infested rice. And so we do not know where that report was coming from, but their investigations, I personally said, we didn't find any. So that is false.